Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to lesson number 7. We're going to be looking at basically two different lessons today, and they are from chapter 17 of the book. And what we are going to be looking at is fear. I don't know about you, but an awful lot of things in my life and in the life of Ebenezer Scrooge were directed because of their fear. Fear has its downside. And in fact, the fear in this case is the thing that stifles us. In the book, it talks about this. Fear can stifle us. Fear can blind us to the things that matter the most. Fear can force us to rely on material things rather than heart things for our security. And he's right. An awful lot of people have been, lives have been shaped because of what they've been afraid of. And if we look at the character Ebenezer Scrooge, that crusty individual sitting behind the desk, inside of him are the memories of that little boy that was left at boarding school over Christmas. And of course, the breakup with Belle. The character Ebenezer Scrooge wants to put his heart away where it can't get hurt again. And an awful lot of us can identify with that avoidance of pain and avoidance of the things that could hurt us. But the fact is that fear is a good thing in some ways. For example, Scripture tells me that fear of the Lord is the beginning of understanding. And if you are in combat, you would avoid being hurt because you are afraid, so that you are alert to the things. If I'm afraid of gaining injuries or something like that, then of course I'm being careful. I won't stick a fork in a electric socket, for example, because I know what can happen there. And there's a balance that God calls us to have, both of fear and of taking action in the presence of fear. Too many of us, though, have withdrawn from the world and withdrawn to the point where we are no longer engaged with others because we're just afraid of being hurt. We'll engage, if we do engage, just a little bit, just enough to have a relationship, but not enough to truly be touched or healed or changed by those relationships. And you'll see this in the church, and you'll see it in marriages. You'll see people, for example, that have been married 40 years who have never shared what they are open and fearful and what's happened in their life. But God calls us in 1 Corinthians, if I'm just a clanging cymbal, if I have not love, I'm a waste of time. And one of the things that keep us from loving is fear. So I'm going to ask you just to sit back, and tomorrow's lesson really ties in. Yesterday's lesson was almost doesn't count, in that Ebenezer Scrooge almost went after Belle, and that would have changed his life. And for some of us, we've almost accepted Christ. But tomorrow we're going to be talking about something that's very, very important. And tomorrow's lesson is titled, The Truest Self is Your Silent Self. Who you are by yourself, in yourself, is the true person you are. And that's the person that we often avoid by staying busy or angry or frustrated or being able to blame others. But tomorrow we'll explore these issues even further. Well, I want to thank you for listening.